Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sunday Season 2 tournament. We're doing the semifinals here today. I am Septimus. This is Lothans with the Prep Phase League. So,
Heyo.
how are we doing today, Lothans? Are you excited?
I'm more than excited for these matchups. I mean, this is the moment we've been waiting for. This is where the teams get into the money, guaranteed to hit that prize pool. Everybody in the tournament left so far. So, day one's out of the way. We at the top four teams to look at now.
Absolutely, and I did forget to mention we are also joined here by Mr. Pepper Titan for a little pregame talk. How are you doing today, sir?
I mean, now that I got forgotten, a little bit less good.
Yeah.
But still excited for the matchups today. Looking forward from just the semifinals all the way up to the finals and the third place match.
So yeah, definitely going to be very exciting today. You know, for our first matchup, I'm really looking forward to see how this turns out. We have 2OP who was just very, very good yesterday, going up against Trash, who it's kind of they were defeated in one game, but it was kind of a weird situation where unfortunately there was a disconnect and a bot had to be pulled in because of the rules. So they do have one defeat on their record, but it is the opinion of many that that doesn't really kind of count towards them as a bad mark.
Well, you know, it is what it is. And this is kind of like shades of Season 1's tournament not that long ago. Team Trash and Outplayed both getting that 1 and 2 spot going into the tournament, gets that bye through the first day of the tournament, jumps right into the semifinals. They just have two brand new teams to go against this season.
And Trash did take a loss, but it wasn't against 2OP, and they have faced before, so the teams know what to expect from one another going in. There shouldn't be any big surprises there. I'm really curious to see how picks and bans shake up, if we're going to see any focus on one particular player or another.
Yeah, I think that'll definitely be an interesting part because, you know, these teams are really some of the ones that kind of focus on, you know, learning as much as they possibly can about the enemy team. 2OP has definitely talked about this in the past, and we know Trash for sure. This is one of their tactics. They want to know as much as they can about the enemy before they go up against them.
They've had plenty of opportunities to get to know one another throughout the regular season, and man, it's going to be a rough and tumble game, I think. If anybody can take down Trash, it's got to be this team. They put up such a strong showing yesterday during the first round of the tournament that I think they really have a strong shot here to topple the Giant.
Yeah, and definitely going up against Play for Fun. Nobody was really expecting it to be that much of just an overtaking game. There was a couple close moments in there, but 2OP definitely did lay it down and pulled out that win very handily. So I was really impressed with their play on in that matchup yesterday.
Yeah, I honestly expected that to at least go to a game 3 in that first matchup. But 2OP did show they had the stuff, and they've earned their spot here. But there's got to be a little bit of nerves when you're suddenly facing Team Trash and you're shot for the finals.
So yeah, and let's talk about just this one particular matchup, because of course we have a fantastic matchup coming in later today of Outplayed versus Fun. But Trash versus OP, Trash of course is coming in here a little bit of the favorite just because of their history. 2OP showing that they are a very strong team. So what are you thinking about a little bit of what we might see here? Are we looking for this might go to game 3? We're not really sure. Or do you guys have any kind of predictions you'd like to throw out there?
Well, it usually seems games against Trash is the game 1 will be kind of close every once in a while, and then game 2 they know what they're doing and steamroll them. So I really think that it's really important for 2OP to take game 1, if anything. Like, that's what they need to do to get a shot against Team Trash, is focus down hard. And just the thing that maybe can break Trash is just split them apart and get them off by themselves. Find one character, just focus down, and really not let them slip away and heal each other back up.
Yeah, that seems to be the best strategy we've seen so far in season number 2 against Team Trash is, just like Pepper Titan said, split somebody off, cut them off from the rest of the team, and burn them down. You throw off Trash's strategy that way, and it seems to work very well. But I think the biggest story here is 2OP as a team runs with a handicap today, and it's a little bit unfortunate. They only have one support player going into today's matchup, and that's going to be Timo is OP. He has shown flashes of brilliance, but this is going to be the true test of his skill as a player.
Yeah, absolutely. And, because of that one issue, they are, only able to use Timo as their support player this time around. But in the past, Timo has, like you stated, shown that he is very capable, as was Skyman as well. So there's really kind of, does it really matter that it got banned out because both supports are pretty much on an even keel. So we're really looking forward to see what happens here today. But, we've got these fantastic graphics that we've made up. So I'd like to throw one of those up on the screen right now. And it looks like for the comparison for this particular game, we're actually doing a tank comparison. So we've got Craner versus Awe here. So some very interesting numbers being thrown about, I think. And it's a little different because it's really hard. Trash doesn't really have that one specific frontliner. They've got Craner and Wooly, both of whom kind of switch back and forth, although we've seen Craner playing frontline a lot lately. He's kind of almost moved a little bit more into that role than usual.
I think it really comes down to that is if Trash gets Celeste, then Wooly will play her. Besides that, he'll probably be on the front.
Right, and so with Craner having played the frontline a little bit more recently, he was picked for the the frontline comparison here against Awe, and it's really kind of startling to see the difference in numbers between Trash, who has been undefeated, has a very specific and methodical way of playing that works very well for them, and 2OP, who's coming in and literally just kind of, I guess, bare-knuckled their way to the position that they're currently in.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it in the numbers. The very first stat you see there, guys, is deaths. Now, this is going to be telling because it is Team Trash. That's their number one rule. If you don't follow these guys and read their guides on prepphase.com, you wouldn't know. But their number one rule is don't die. That's how you win the game. That's their strategy. Stay in a good position. You can see it right here. A frontliner player has 0.25 deaths. What is that? How explain this stat to everybody, Septimus, because these are your statless reactor stats coming in here.
Yeah, so basically what this is just the average deaths per game. So essentially 1 out of every 4 games, Craner's taken a death.
Yeah, and that is tremendously telling, I should say, to the way that they play. As a frontliner, a lot of people have the concept that, hey, I got to go in there and take damage for my team. But in this case, you see a totally different mindset. He wants to disrupt the enemy team and not take the deaths, not take the damage, and just be a nuisance in there.
Yeah, and next up you're going to damage per turn, which frontliners are still damage dealers no matter how you do it. They're supposed to soak up the damage, but they're also supposed to deal it out as well. And of course, these are a little bit skewed because Craner, like we stated, does play a firepower about almost exactly half the time when I was looking at it. So he does have a kind of skewed number there of 22 damage per turn, whereas Awe, who's played frontliner almost exclusively, is coming in at 14.91 damage per turn. So even as a frontliner, Awe is still able to put out some pretty decent damage, considering that the frontliner damage is ranging only from about 20 to 24 in their hits.
Yeah, no doubt about
32.
it. Well, I wanted to point out really quickly, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Pepper. We'll jump right over to you. I wanted to point out the deaths on Awe as well. Only 1 death every 2 games based on Septimus's explanation there. As of basically exclusive frontline player, that is rather impressive, especially at this high level of play. And these numbers are pulled straight from the PPL itself. So going up against the best and the best of Atlas Reactor in a team environment where everybody's communicating, he's only dying once every 2 games. And I think that's a really good stat as well.
Yeah, people think of frontliners as so hard to kill, and they really can be, but against coordinated teams who know how to focus, you can burn through frontliner health pool much faster than you might expect.
So yeah, and then kind of moving on with that is we got the firepower rating below, and once again, this is going off the fact that frontliners are still expected to deal out damage. Of course, Craner once again huge number because half the time he is playing a firepower, so we're gonna kind of have to see which direction he goes tonight. But 17.6 on the firepower rating versus that 9.49, and basically what the firepower rating is, it's the average damage per turn, which is that number right above it, being compared to their average lives per game. So 9.49 firepower rating is actually not too shabby at all. Most frontliners are falling in about that range. All when taken just on the frontliner list is actually pretty far up there on that list.
I think the telling thing here is obviously we have to take Cranor's stat with a little grain of salt. Like you said, plays firepower a lot, frontliner a lot as well. So it's going to be skewed a little bit toward the high end for a frontliner player. But on the other side, All seems to have it down. He's putting pressure on the enemy team just based on the stats that we're seeing, and it's very difficult to take him out. So he's chasing people around, disrupting the enemy team. It's very difficult to kill him every single game. Like we said, 1 every 2 games it looks like. And his damage is respectable. So he is pushing people off, disrupting the enemy team's plans and putting them in situations that they did not want to be in.
Yeah, and the main role of a firepower, especially in this high-level play, is vision and disruption. It's not even necessarily tanking damage. It's just you want the frontliner to be able to show you where the enemy is, and you want them to be in their face. Get on that support so they're worrying about themselves instead of the rest of their team. Find a squishy firepower who has no escape, like a Nyx or a Gremo who just uses dash, and harass them over and over again. Just make sure at least one of their players is doing something besides hurting your team.
Absolutely. And finally, of course, the tankiness rating. This is the one that really matters here for the frontline players. Why don't you run down exactly how we get this number, Septimus?
So tankiness rating is kind of one of those weird ones. It's the average damage taken per turn divided, compared once again to the average lives of a player per game. So what's really impressive about this is, as most everybody knows, typically as a firepower player, you're wanting to avoid damage, right? You're not supposed to take it. You're supposed to just avoid it using dashes, going invisible and just avoiding the enemy, whatever the tools are for that particular character. So Craner still comes in with a higher tankiness rating, even though he half the time plays a firepower. So he's not actually doing, over the course of all the characters he's played, he's actually taking more damage and surviving than Awe is as a 100% frontliner player.
I think a lot of that comes down to Craner plays firepower's mid-range. Even when he's on Lockwood, he's playing the Pierce. If he's on Gray, he's going to be sort of farther up there compared to other firepower players, especially the ones on Trash, Avaki and Wolo, who will stay as far away as possible. So he's definitely much more in the enemy's face, even as the firepower player, than others may be.
It kind of hails back to his frontline play as well. I mean, it's kind of hard to get out of that mindset once you get into it. Like, I've got to be in their face, got to be in their face. And then all of a sudden you're on a freelancer where you don't want to be in their face. So it's a little bit difficult to get out of that mindset, I think. And that may be the reason for that really high tankiness stat. But of course, Awe, on the other side of things, really up there right alongside him, only 1 point behind. And essentially what that means is he's doing his job, if I take that stat correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. Because pretty much the reason these two were picked is because when you compared all the stats between the two teams, both these guys were up there making it onto the leaderboards. So, they were both really showing out the tankiness numbers. Craner, of course, I thought it was pretty impressive that even though he's taking tons of damage, even when he's playing firepower, he's still staying alive throughout the whole thing. And of course, that can be attributed to, the healers on the teams doing their job basically, and keeping Team Trash alive. Safil on his Dr. Finn or Quark, and of course for Awe, we had either Skyman or Teemo, just keeping these guys alive while they take all the damage that they do.
I think that's pretty important. I mean, to think about Craner and Wallalal, when it's usually Wallalaw lately on the frontline play. I know most recently it's been Cranor, but we see Sefil, now that he has stepped away from Dr. Finn, jumping onto that Quark and really sitting on one of those firepower players. And it's usually going to be Wallalaw, or I'm sorry, excuse me, it's usually going to be Cranor, because Wallalaw seems to take that frontline position more often than not. However, what that means is their tankiness is off the charts. You have a pocket Quark following you around, it's really difficult to kill you. And in fact, it forces the enemy team to make the decision, try to kill you through the healing or just try to turn on the Quark.
Yeah.
And the thing there is definitely turn on the Quark. I've made that mistake plenty of times where you try and burn down that person while they're just constantly getting healed.
Well, and that's something we've actually seen examples of here in prep phases, where they will just try to chase down the Quark tether target, and you can't seem to do anything to him. Quark just keeps him alive, keeps doing his overcharge, his radiate, and just keeping that person alive, despite the fact that 2 or more people may be focusing him. And of course, by the time you finally get them low enough, you think you're going to get that kill. What's going to happen? Quark's got his ultimate. You can't kill the guy. And you just can't do it. You've got to focus the Quark.
Yeah, that's one of the key things here. I think it's going to come down, honestly, in this matchup. It's a best of 3 matchup, guys, in both of these semifinal rounds. Trash versus 2OP, I think, is going to come down to support play. We know Sefil can get it done. He's probably going to be playing Quark. If he doesn't, I would be shocked. But Teemo's OP has to step up here and really help his team out, because Trash is going to be coming hot and heavy. Usually, like Pepper Titan pointed out at the beginning of our broadcast, Trash takes that first game kind of lightly. Not taking their opponent lightly, but takes the matchup on kind of a slow pace. And they see what the enemy team's planning to do with their strategy, so that in game number 2, they can steamroll them. So it's going to be really important for Teemo's OP as the support player to keep those guys healthy, keep them alive, and keep a good position so he is not caught out.
So yeah, and looks like both our teams are pretty much loaded up and ready. So I think we're going to go ahead and get started on that. Pepper, thank you for joining us for that little pre-game chat. Always enjoy your input, sir.
Yep, I'll go slide away back into the shadows until my time later.
All right, we'll see you then.
All right, this is the moment we've been waiting for. Everybody, this is in the money, guys. So to kind of run down the prizes, Tron Worlds, along with the Atlas Reactor devs, have thrown us $2,500, $2,500 for this season's tournament. And because it was so much compared to last season, this is going to be the top 4 teams get in the money. The first prize is going to get $1,200 for the team to spread around. Second, $700. Third, $400, and fourth, $200. And it's nothing to sneeze at. So every one of these teams is a winner today.
So yeah, and looks like we have already got the pick ban phase going. Of course, Flyaway Freighter picked almost right away. Trash being the home team, they really enjoy playing on that map. And first ban coming in from 2OP, looks like they are taking Gray away from Trash.
That's an excellent ban, in my opinion. Gray in Avaki's hands has been tremendous for 2 entire seasons. And here we see Trash is going to answer back with a Grimolitions ban, which makes total sense as well.
Yeah, definitely. Really, I think these are really targeted bans, as opposed to just, banning your typical Rask or Lockwood. These guys are actually like, we do not want your specific team to have this character.
Yeah, if you're not familiar, Avaki is the Gray guy pretty much most of the time whenever they pick that. I've seen it out of his hands a couple of times, but that's only when they pick Nyx. Lotre Kib is the Grimo player on 2OP's side, and here we see a Celeste pickup right away for 2OP, and immediately Team Trash answer back with Lockwood and Nyx both.
Yeah, and very interesting. 2OP, once again, I think doing a little bit of denial. They don't want Wooly to have Celeste, so they went ahead and took that character up for themselves. Trash, of course, picks up Lockwood and Nyx. Nyx, of course, is Avaki's kind of second favorite, you could say. Whenever he can't get his hands on Gray, he's going Nyx. He really enjoys those very stealthy, elusive characters.
and really fits his play style. Even though Nyx doesn't have the built-in dash that Gray does, that fits his play style perfectly. Stay really far away, stay in the shadows, be unseen, and if they do have a beat on you, it's usually if he pokes his head out when the enemy team is in an unfortunate situation, completely surrounded. And we do see Asana getting picked up by 2OP on the other side, so we are going to see that very strong pick coming out of their side. And of course, Trash picks up Quark.
Yeah, so definitely, it looks like Trash really kind of getting, as they always seem to do, getting a lineup that we know they're going to do well with. They never seem to get stuck with picks that just aren't quite right for them. So, of course, we've got, Avaki on the Nyx. I imagine definitely going to be Sephios on Quark there, and 2OP coming in with Finn as their support pick.
Yeah, and you notice something strange happening. Team Trash didn't ban Helio. 2OP didn't pick Helio. So we're a Helio-less game unless we have a double support, which I do not expect at this point. Looking at the lineups, doesn't fit anywhere. I really expected 2OP to pick that up, but keep in mind, Teemo is OP is a quintessential Dr. Finn player. He plays that champion or that freelancer more than any other in the game. So that's his go-to comfort pick. I fully agree with that pick going into game number 1 when all the pressure is pretty much on him to perform.
Yeah, and honestly, it's when you get to the top tier teams, they don't really see Helio as a super strong support. The main issue with Helio is the fact that he changes what you have to do so much. You're going to have to replace certain things with an unstoppable mod, not allowing you to take the actual build out that you really, really want. So he just creates this extra issue that you have to deal with, whereas if you can get rid of him, you don't have to deal with these issues. You just have to deal with a regular support player.
Look at what we have here, though. 2OP picks up for their final pick of the match, Titus. It's a double frontliner comp, putting all their eggs in the Celeste basket for this game for their main damage output. I would expect this is going to be like a 3-1 setup where Teemo is OP on Finn. The Asana and Titus are going to be pushing towards Team Trash, trying to pick somebody off, get him off guard, maybe even split them off, have Asana go off on her own and keep 3 of them busy with the support of Celeste, and then Titus and Finn go off on a different direction and try to pick off maybe that Avaki on the Nyx. On the other side, of course, we have the Rask coming in to round out Team Trash's comp of Lockwood, Nyx, Rask, and Quark, and it's a super strong combination here. We've got some of the best firepowers in the game. Of course, the best in many people's opinion with Lockwood. Nyx right up there, especially in Avaki's hands. I would say one of the better picks for them. Of course, you can't go wrong with Sephiel being on a Quark, and Rask, he's just a rage cat. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, and honestly, it looks like, with Rask being picked and Lockwood, who is Craner's kind of secondary pick, when he's not on frontline, he's Lockwood, and if Wally isn't on Celeste, he's on Rask. So it looks like our graphics aren't even going to apply for this first game anyways, whereas we're going to have Wally running around as the frontliner here. So it should be definitely an interesting show, but in reality, the numbers were kind of the same because, once again, Wally's that player who, if he's not on frontline, he's on firepower, and him and Craner seem to trade that role back and forth literally almost every other game.
Yeah, and you see kind of the homage throughout from Team Trash on their logos. The Razer logo, guys, we're going to be featured in a Razer store today on the big screen. So that's super exciting. I love to see that homage being thrown out.
All right, looks like we are starting. So thankfully, we also now have the ability to hide all the info from the players to make this an even more interesting show.
Yeah, I can't wait to do this, man, because that is what we've been asking for since day 1 when Spectator Mode came out. I'm really loving this feature. So thank you so much for listening to the feedback. And that's what these devs are so famous for in the community, listening to their players, getting what they want. So here we have, it looks like Trash is doing kind of the same thing, splitting off Avaki from the rest of the group, and they're all heading toward that tunnel of love.
Yeah, and here we go. Just a couple pokes being thrown out, a trap being tossed out from Craner. Safil, of course, going to attach that tether just to build up a little energy, and Avaki hoping to grab someone running across with a trap, but no one seems to walk through it. Everybody's on the opposite side of the map. Both teams playing incredibly defensively.
Yeah, just kind of feeling each other out, sending those feelers out. Like we said, Wallalaw is one of those feelers right now, trying to get vision. He does see Meh, Avaki throwing down the trap and going back towards his team, trying to give the impression, maybe a little bit of a smoke cloud, that he is going to be trying to flank them from that side.
Yeah, it looks like doing a radiate there once again, just building up that energy as long as he can, all expecting some sort of dash there. Meh throwing out a poke as well as picking up the might from the middle of the field, and everybody just rearranging. Looks like Wally is going to push in though onto Meh.
Well, here's the problem. The two frontliners for 2OP are sitting here almost at a starting position right now. They're at the starting blocks, just sitting behind cover like good frontliners should at all times. But now Meh is out on his own. He is quickly being surrounded, and it looked like all thought perhaps Avaki had ran forward invisible, but he hasn't done that. So that was a nice smoke cloud on his part.
Yeah, it looks like once again the radiate coming out from Safil. He is building that up. Meh is going to dash out of danger, not wanting to take any damage here at all. Low trade doing an attack, expecting a dash, and Wally, of course, missing because of that earlier dash. Avaki does get a cover shot in on Awe, and Craner's shot misses as well. Looks like that dash did Meh some pretty good damage avoidance.
All right, now 2OP sees what's going on. They react immediately. Meh gets out, and then the two frontliners move in. So now they are on the front foot, in my opinion. Wallalaw is in kind of a bad position. He's cut off from his own team. Avaki is down here on the bottom side of the map, so he did in fact go down there, is invisible. They don't know, so he's coming up on Teemo's OP on the other side.
And it looks like Awe activating that retribution shield. Low trade throwing a dagger onto Craner, who's just got so much overheal that this dash from Awe isn't going to do a whole lot, but does take him down to 92 health after taking 50 damage. Teemo getting a shot in on Wally as well as some smoke bombs coming in from Meh here. And a bounce shot going in onto Low Tray from Craner. Teemo is OP taking a shot from Avaki there. And then Low Tray getting knocked back into the Tunnel of Love by Wally.
Yeah, a lot of times you want to go in that tunnel of love with somebody, but this time Rask is not your ideal partner to go in there with you. He didn't go in anyway. Safil sitting on that health got that pickup. This is what Team Trash does so well. They control these health power-ups more than any other team that I've ever seen, and it really pays off in their gameplay.
There goes Teemo throwing that unstopped bubble on himself. Lots of shields going out all around both Wally and Craner, putting the turtle tech up on themselves. Craner, of course, getting healing from Safil as well, and there goes Wally with a double hit onto both Meh and Teemo. And Meh picking up the Energize and throwing one claw out to Wally, and we've got a fantastic light 'em up coming out from Craner, catching both Awe and Low Tray. Safil getting rooted down by Awe, and Avaki taking a shot on the Teemo, making good use of that bubble there.
It is turn number 7. Avaki has done enough on the Nyx, just poking at Teemo's OP in the background to have his ultimate available for turn number 7. That is unbelievable for a Nyx player. Excellent work so far. Now Meh is in a corner, really in a tight situation. Wallalaw and Avaki bearing down on him. Teemo is OP trying to help out the frontliners, but man, they're in a tough spot now, R2 OP.
And now it's Oz's turn to use that turtle tech there while he's surrounded by both Craner and Safil. Wally dashing in on Teemo, and Low Tray dashing in on Safil as well. Here comes the ultimate from Avaki, hitting Teemo, bringing him down quite low, and Meh just continuing to pick up those power-ups. And here comes the Eels onto Safil, only does cover damage. Wally also catching some trap damage there, and all with a two-man swipe onto Craner and Safil. And they both respond with huge damage onto Awe, taking him down quite low. Man, they are doing some work over there on the side.
Yeah, Awe is in a world of hurt. He's had Safil's enemy cork tether on him for 3 turns now. Can't seem to get out of there. Can't seem to get support from Teemo's OP until just now. But Teemo is taking so much damage now, he's got to pretty much get out of there, or he's going to be next to death after this turn is over, if not dead himself. Meh, on the other hand, really unfortunate that he's picking up all these power-ups. Might have not had a line of sight on Avaki, but you've got to start doing damage. Each and every turn is that firepower.
And here it comes. Craner still almost at full health because of that Quark Tether. Meh taking some cover damage, but has his ultimate. Throws down a big 50 onto Avaki. And here comes Wooly with the swipe. Only catches Teemo with it. Craner's shot hits both Awe and Lotray on the bounce. Awe, of course, with that double swipe, and that eel then bounces out. And, of course, there goes a tether damage going out to Awe, leaving him at only 17th health.
Yeah, Aw's in a bad way. Like we just talked about, that Quark Tether has been devastating to 2OP's team synergy right now. They can't seem to get anything done as the front line, the double frontline comp, because Awe is just taking so much damage just from Sefil and Cranor the last couple of turns. Matt, on the other hand, does get a lot of damage on Avaki, but it only evens the score as far as health is concerned.
All right, Sefil finally using that Turtle Tech. Awe using that Retribution Shield, and Wally activating his healing. And of course, there goes a trap, expecting some dashes to come out here. Craner also expecting a dash coming out from Awe. They are just trapping him up. And here comes the ultimate from Sefil, catching both Wooly and Craner with it. Lotray putting out the weaken and mightying himself at the same time. And finally, the blast phase comes around with some smoke going onto Craner and Sefil. A splash from onto Craner and Sefil as well, coming from Teemo. And the hit from Lotray doing a big 32 to Sefil. Wooly activates his ultimate, catching Lotray, bringing him down to less than half health after a swipe. Lotray also catches that trap, and so does Asana there, going down.
Yeah, there was really no escape there. You saw the perfect placement to just block him into that little square. If he wants to leave that area, he's going down this turn. So excellent play there by Cranor on the Lockwood. Now, at this point, Cranor has ult. Wallalal just used his on the Rask. And Lotray Kib had to back out as well. So both frontliners have taken the damage, but they can't stay in the fight.
Yeah, it looks like Craner still at full health. Catches a single claw there from Meh, but he has been taking all sorts of damage, not gone down almost at all. Wooly gonna catch a spray there from Teemo. Avaki missing his shot onto Meh, and Teemo getting knocked back into that corner. This is not where he wants to be right now, considering the trap that was placed there last time. It's just kind of a death zone.
I mean, if you look around the map, you see something extremely telling here. 2OP's team is completely split. Especially last turn, Lotray Kid was in the middle. He picked up a little bit of a health orb there, but they can't work together right now. Team Trash has successfully split them apart and isolated each and every one of them.
Yeah, it looks like Mess still just throwing out those claws, trying to find Avaki, who takes a shot onto Lotray. Lotray does find him with a hit. And here comes Craner with the bounce shot, and Wooly going to finish up. Teemo is OP. He is going to throw out this. Does he have the healing on it? He does! Leaves him with only 2 health, and he runs behind the wall there.
That slow from Wallalal's basic attack did not allow Teemo's OP to get as far away from them as he wanted to. Now Cranor can just bounce a shot off of there. There's really nothing he can do unless he wants to Catalyst dash away, and really, that's a once per game thing with no other built-in escape mechanism. That's really not what you want to do as a Dr. Finn.
Yeah, and here we go. Craner with his ultimate, moving in, only catches Meh along with Sefil dashing. All the dashes that happen there. It looks like Teemo took a death from Wooly's dash and misses with his eels. Avaki with the shot finishes off Meh from long range.
I was just looking at the stats here for the teams, and Meh has on Celeste for 2OP has the highest damage numbers for their team, as you might expect, is the only firepower on the team as well, 222. But after 13 rounds, or after 12 rounds, my fault, that's not really the highest number you're looking for. He has been totally ineffective, missing a lot of shots, going for power-ups on the other ones, and it's really showing here with a 0-3 lead in favor of Team Trash.
Yeah, it looks like Awe activating that Retribution, throwing a dagger onto Craner, who's going to take No damage at all. Instead, they're going to root Safil over on the side. Craner then doing a split shot onto both Awe and Lotre. And there goes the ultimate on the Lotre Kib, taking him down from Avaki all the way across the map.
The amount of ults coming out of Avaki's Nyx right now, he is doing work in this game. This is the reason why they're 4-0 up in this matchup right now. Game number 1, the best of 3. Keep that in mind, guys. But man, has he been doing work on that Nyx. Every single turn has been doing something. That's why he's got 2 ults already in 13 turns.
And here he comes, throwing out another trap, reaching all the way across the map. Probably going to catch Awe here, who is now the focus, catching both damage from Safil and Craner. And finally popping that dagger from Lotre there. And looks like somebody
Timo's OP actually spawned and broke the trap there for Mavaki, so he took the trap damage. All wasn't even going to go over it because Cranor didn't move past it far enough. With the auto follow going on, All was just going to follow him right to that spot, wasn't going to pop the trap. Now the key point here, there's a lot of stuff coming up on the map this turn. The might buffs coming up next turn. They've got a couple other power-ups to look at. Who is going to pick those up?
Well, it looks like now Avaki is about to be the focus of all 3 members of the enemy team. We got Awe doing his ultimate, moving in with the 35 damage, causing everybody else to miss their shots on him. Avaki did do his second wind, expecting it, and looks like they're just not going to do enough to take him that far down with that second wind, and off he runs with that full move, now that you can make a full move once you second wind.
Yeah, really big buff to that that catalyst there, but Avaki below half HP is going to heal up. You see that little green bar on his HP bar? That is the healing that he has coming still. So 2 more turns of 15 health coming to him. And Lotre Kib comes back in here, Mez back in. So they have full HP players now on 2OP's side, but they have to make it work. Your time is running out quickly.
So, and looks like Lotre just got a 3-man might off on his team that wasn't able to weaken anybody. Safil going ahead and using his ultimate to top off Avaki. And here comes Meh with the dash, only catches Wooly there as Avaki decided to catalyst out of there. And looks like Wooly is going to be the focus here, except for Lotre using his ultimate, only catches Craner for 19 in cover damage though. Not what he was expecting, and Wooly knocking Awe back through that trap. Lotre then going to walk through it as well on his way to pick up the might.
Yeah, full health Titus doesn't care too much about that Lockwood trap damage, but it is something. And of course, he went for the Avaki kill. Avaki read it like a book. As you might expect from the top team in the league, Catalyst dashes out of there. Took him 16 turns to be forced to use his one and only escape tool. And there it was in the perfect opportunity, perfect moment.
And there he goes, going invisible again, able to move kind of freely as he wants to now. And Safil just keeping Craner completely topped off. And here comes all the dashes, both dashes being focused in on Safil there. And we got Wooly with his ultimate over on the side. Meh using his ultimate as well, but not catching Avaki because he was not in the tunnel. We have a light him up from Craner, catches only Awe, and Safil deciding to attach his tether to Lotre there.
3 turns left.
Yeah, you almost want to say, man, have you listened to Hacksaw lately? In the regular season, the captain to just shoot him, man. If you see him, shoot him. Don't take those blind shots, the predictions. It just wasn't worth it there, especially for an ultimate out of a big time. They're basically their biggest damage output on the team. They cannot afford to waste that ability.
So, and looks like Lotre is going to be the focus for them right now. They've got 3 members of the enemy team bearing down on them. Meh decides to catalyst out of there. Lotre takes his shot onto Safil, and here comes Craner with the shot. Safil with the radiate, and then a shot from Avaki, leaving him with only 3 health. Awe is going to root Wooly into place, and Timo is going to put some eels on the Craner. And that throw, of course, from Wooly does miss because Meh catalysted out of there.
At this point, it's too little too late. We have 2 turns left to go. Lotre Kib respawned 3 turns ago, full HP Titus, and he is 4 health right now. So it has been a just a brutal performance coming in for the double front line of 2OP, but we got to see what they're going to plan on doing. They have to make some changes coming into the next game. I don't want to call this one just yet when it's not even over, but I mean, let's face it, it's pretty much over.
Yeah, he does still have a catalyst available to him, but, you know, with only 2 rounds left, there's not a whole lot they can do to avoid that for too long. He does, of course, use that catalyst behind Safil and Craner. Safil does still have that tether attached to him, so will still deal damage despite the catalyst. Avaki takes a shot and misses because of that, but now he is going to have his dash up, so does have another escape here.
All right, 19 turns in. We're looking at turn 20 coming up. What are these guys going to do to finish off this matchup? 4-0 in favor of Team Trash, but look at Sefil's health bar. He's at half HP. That's the lowest he's been all game. Craner hasn't even been lower than what he is now, I don't think. I mean, these guys have been near full HP the whole game. It's not worked out in 2OP's favor, I think, and this duo with the Pocket Cork has really thrown them off their game.
So, and there goes Avaki with the trap. Does catch Lotre on his way out. Safil does not quite dash far enough to keep the tether attached, though. So he does get away without a death, but despite all of that, there's not a whole lot that can happen this turn to change the outcome.
That's going to be GG in favor of Team Trash in 20 turns, 4-0. Now, we talked about in the pre-show what Team Trash usually likes to do is take the foot off the accelerator for game number 1, tap the brake a little bit, pump it, slow down a little bit, see what the enemy team's going to do. We did not see that this match. We saw Team Trash come out of the blocks like a Russian racehorse and just go for the finish line here in game 1.
Yeah, and you know, that might be attributed a little bit to the fact that they have played against 2OP before. So it's not like they were going up against a completely strange team that they had no idea what they were going to pull out of the bag. They know what 2OP does. They know how 2OP plays. You know, and of course at this point they have been watching 2OP's other games, so they kind of knew what to expect here. So it wasn't as though they were going in blind like is usually the case when they have that slow first game. They were going in knowing exactly what to expect from 2OP and played this like a fiddle.
Yeah, and I want to point out a couple of stats here. One is on Cranor, who I think is my vote for MVP of this matchup. In game number 1, he was 4-0 in 3. So his takedowns that he was a part of, he was in all 4 of them. And he had 3 death blows where he did the finishing touch. He had 546 damage overall in the game, which was leading the pack by far of everybody else. And he took 343 damage, though. So almost triple his health bar taken worth of damage. This is the telling story of how good Safil is on that Cork. Keeping himself alive, had 605 healing over the game. But those 2 stats really tell the tale of game number 1.
Well, yeah, and, you know, of course, Safil had that tether attached to Craner the entire game. Never took it off even once. Nothing, you know, it never even got broken for any reason at all. And, you know, 605 healing is just insane.
Yeah, it's pretty serious. I mean, honestly, the 2OP has to pull back to yesterday, you know. Hail back to their glory days of yesteryear, basically, and come out of the block swinging, man. They've got to show that they got here for a reason, man. They cannot get complacent and say, okay, we made some money, we're in the prize pools now, you know, maybe we don't have to try so hard, we're all good. But I don't think that's the case. I know everybody wants to win this tournament. It's very important. Team Trash won the first season's tournament. I think nobody was to see him win tournament number 2 here, except for them. Of course, I root for everybody. I'm not biased against them, but man, we got to see somebody step up and challenge Team Trash.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think maybe 2OP just got a wake-up call there. Hopefully they'll come back and just try, you know, double effort this next time. I'd really like to see, before the finals, you know, I want to see Trash get a game taken away from him. It's something we've been wishing for the whole season. In fact, all of last season as well. I mean, we can easily say that. And, you know, we want to see it happen. where we know they're trying 100% because, of course, with a bot match, there's only so hard you can try, which is their one and only loss so far.
Right, right.
But, I want to see them go in head first and somebody else just, lay it down and take a game off of them. Be like, look, you are the best, but you can still be beaten too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, that's the story of the game here. And really, it comes down to what I witnessed in that matchup. You saw 2OP got off on kind of the wrong footing right off the bat. They regrouped themselves rather well, rather quickly, got their frontliners in the front, got Met out of there, and on the Celeste back towards Teemo's OP on the support. And unfortunately for them, Team Trash just started herding the sheep, if it basically is what I call it. They put people where they want them to be, whether they want to go there or not. Just by their positioning and what they're doing, they push the enemy team into unfortunate situations where it's a no-win situation. And that's exactly what we saw toward the mid game, where we had Teemo's OP was dead. He just got killed. You had Lotre Kib on Titus in the middle of the map. You had Met on Celeste at the bottom corner of the map. And you had, Teemo's OP was up at the top corner opposite Celeste. They were all split off from one another. They couldn't even see one another if they didn't have shared vision. That's how far away they were and out of position they were from one another. They couldn't work together. They were in an unfortunately no-win situation at that point.
Well, yeah, and it was literally that situation where they literally took up the length of the map. They were so spread out almost evenly. Of course, you had Craner and Safiel and Wally kind of focusing one person in the corner, while three members of 2OP were trying to hunt down Avaki, who of course was just kind of running around invisible, doing his evasive thing, which he's very good at. And I think that may have been a little bit of a mistake trying to hunt down the one stealth character when you had three others right there in front of you. Especially Quark. I mean, they could have gone after Quark and changed a lot of things about the way that one match went.
Yeah, woulda, coulda, shoulda is all around the board for 2OP that game. Team Trash, end of story, bottom line is they perform much better as a team, as a unit. They got the job done. So they take game number one. We got to see what game two is going to be looking like. And it looks like we're getting ready to jump into that draft. And now it should be 2OP's turn to pick the map.
Yeah, absolutely. So they do get to pick the map this time around. So kind of curious to see where they're going to go. I don't think they're going to choose Flyaway, and they do not. They go for Evos, which has been an incredibly popular map this season. It's, medium size. It's not quite so close quarters as Cloudspire, which is just a slugfest all the way around. It has a little bit of breathing room like Flyaway, but yet it's still close enough to where people really have to try to escape if they're going to.
Team Trash just banned Pup, and I think maybe a misclick perhaps, but I mean, my goodness, are they just... is this just a troll ban or what's going on here?
I kind of have to say I think it might be a troll ban. That might be a situation of them saying you can have whatever freelancers you want. We don't care.
That would be a little bit harsh, I think, from their side. But I mean, they definitely earned the position to be a little bit cocky in what they do. 2OP going to ban out the Lockwood, and of course, Trash going to pick up Celeste immediately. They love that freelancer.
Yes, Wally on Celeste is definitely a dangerous proposition. Honestly, I thought that was probably one of their smarter picks in the last game, was denying Celeste away from Wally, who almost top numbers every single game that he's able to play that Lancer.
Yeah, 2OP, if they do not pick Gray here, which they do, of course, I'm like, there's something going wrong with their brains. Gray is available. Gray is up. Avaki wants it. Guaranteed he wants that pick right now, and they take it away. So very well done. They pick up their comfort pick in Grimalations, and they take the Gray away, who's a very overall strong pick anyway.
I don't know. I think with the performance that Avaki had on Nyx in the last game, I don't think it really is a difference as to which one he's on. He is equally as deadly with either or.
Yeah, it's really hard to ban out these guys. I mean, obviously we only have the one ban, and we've got 4 people playing on each team, so really hard to see here. But Timo's OP looks like from 2OP is going to be picking up that Helio this match. So it's something I've mentioned earlier in the game number 1 was Helio was up and available. Nobody picked it up. I didn't expect Trash to do it, but I did expect 2OP to pick up that Freelancer, and here he is for game number 2.
Well, I do like that fact that somebody finally did it, because, you know, typically you're going to see Trash banning that Helio away, and it's for that reason we talked about before, because he adds a variance to the game that isn't normally there, where you have to, you know, prepare for situations where you're going to need Unstoppable, or you're going to end up scrambled, which is a very dangerous and powerful effect to have on you. The ability to only use your primary attack can be just as bad as, you know, being stuck in the middle of three other Lancers with, you know, nothing else to do. You know, you've got no catalyst. So it's just a bad situation to be in. And now Trash is going to have to go up against it, which they don't like to do that.
Yeah, and as Trash picks up their final members of their team comp here, we've got Celeste, Asana, Nyx, and Quark, of course. Oh, totally expected both of those picks coming in, the Nyx and Quark from them. We're going to have a Titus rounding out 2OP side, but just to go back to Helio a little bit, I think once again, all the pressure is on Timo's OP here to perform excellently. I don't want to see an attempt on a Helio Black Hole wall combo. I would like to see Timo's OP branch out from that basic play from Helio, the basic Wombo combo, if you will, and actually throw a black hole just for disruption, just to get some catalysts and dashes out of there, and then put the wall somewhere else. Put the wall to cover their dashes so that they're scrambled on the way through, getting away from the Wombo. And I think that would be a very clever way to play it. I think that's the better way to play it, in my opinion. But, I mean, obviously he's there, and I'm here talking, so we got to see what Timo's OP has planned. He is better than I am. Let's say that right now. So let's see what they have planned.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that, because that's actually a tactic I've been seeing used more and more, even in just regular public play, where someone will throw out that black hole and then, you know, basically drop the wall there to just block the one escape that they know people are going to take, so that, you know, they end up scrambled anyways, and now they've also used their dash. So it's just an even worse situation to be put in.
Yeah, I agree entirely. I mean, I love playing Helio myself. I've done it for some time. I'm focused on Zucomania right now, trying to get that level 20 like everybody's trying to do. You saw the notification last match in the middle of the game. But, man, Helio is one of my favorite freelancers, and that's one of my favorite things to do, is just totally throw somebody off by sending in the frontliner with a black hole and then throwing the wall somewhere completely different.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's really what Helio is all about, is the mind games. You know, you see he's got a black hole up. Is he going to use it? You see he's got a wall up. Where's he going to put the wall? You know, is he going to shield here? You know, what's going to happen? Is he going to use his ultimate on this person or this person?
I think that's exactly what Team Trash says when they say Helio is just too high variance to bring into this game. We don't want to see it. We don't want to have to deal with it, because he could do so many different things with all of his abilities. You really can't plan for it. If the enemy player just wants to screw with you, they certainly can with a Helio. But we're getting into this game, guys. Game number 2, can Trash 2-0-2-OP? I did not mean for that to come out that way. That's kind of funny. But or can 2OP scratch and claw and bite their way back and push this one to a game 3 that we all want to see?
So, all right, well, looks like we are getting into it. So let's see here. So it looks like we've got 2OP on the blue team. On the red team, we do have Trash. So once again, same colors for the teams. Let's see how they want to start this one out.
I would anticipate a little bit of a more defensive play from 2OP. Let Team Trash come to you. That's not the best plan, but it didn't work out to charge in last game. We see on the other side, again, Avaki is the most forward on that Nyx, but he is behind a wall. He is across from Lotrakia, but can they see one another? No. they have no idea where anybody is on either side.
Yeah, and I want to say this is actually a very interesting opening for Trash, where they typically have a more stealthy opening. They have stayed far enough back to be spotted outright, but they are all out in the open on this map. You know, of course, Savaki does get hit with a lucky gray Rio drone, and he himself actually catches a good Vortex round onto Meh, just kind of shooting out there into the blinds.
Yeah, so Avaki is in a tough spot here because he's away from his team. He just got ran up on by Awe on the Titus. Titus has the dagger, which can reveal him. If he wants to go invisible this turn, he's not going to be able to do it. So I expect Avaki to hold his invisibility matrix and just take a shot or double move away, trying to get near Safil this turn.
I got a surprise for you.
So yeah, I would expect probably see something along those lines. I don't think he'd want to use his Catalyst this early in the game. He is going to catch a dagger from Awe, though. And it looks like, my goodness, an aggressive dash in from Meh. And Lotre with a couple mines being launched out. Not going to catch anyone, just laying down that minefield. He does use his second wind, however. Very early use of that Catalyst.
Wow, what a waste of that big, powerful second wind Catalyst. 45 health over the course of 3 turns. 15 per turn is that Catalyst. And he is not even, I mean, he took a dagger. You got to expect the dagger to come out. Now he's staring at Meh on gray. He can't get away from this reveal. It's lovely. I like what they did. Meh, I guess, called the dash over from Avaki into that area and just wanted to keep him revealed continuously.
This toxin was
So yeah, and of course, yeah, there it is, the reveal. But, you know, he is going to take about 70 damage, so that second that second win might not be the worst idea. However, he does Catalyst out, doesn't even take any damage. So now he's wasted 2 Catalysts. We do have Safil attaching his tether to Meh here, though, and a double claw going out to Lotre Kib, who then launches a couple mines out. Awe does take a shot in, but does not catch anyone. Not quite sure who that was aimed at either.
Yeah, I think Awe basically should have double moved here and just auto-followed Avaki. I think that would have been a better play in that situation. You can't hit anybody. You can't hit Avaki. You can't hit anybody else. Just put the follow on the guy who cannot go invisible, follow him around the map. But man, those 2 catalysts on Avaki, turn 3 and turn 4, I cannot believe that misplay. I've got to call it a misplay because that's exactly what it was. But Meh now, in a very serious situation, half HP, surrounded.
I will take you all.
And it looks like Awe expecting some sort of knockback here. And a shield going on to Meh there, finally getting a little bit of protection. He does get a 2-man weaken with that shout. And of course, Avaki throwing a trap down, but does it in the wrong direction as Craner dashes towards Lotre instead. And here comes the gray drone covering up that health buff. Wants to make sure if he goes for it, gets a little extra damage. Safil gonna catch a shot from Awe, and then does irradiate towards Meh, taking out that almost the entire shield. And it looks like Wally does some damage to Lotre there, and then Wally gets knocked back through the wall with the big one.
Very nice play there by Lotre Kib and Timo's OP to put the wall down. Nobody went through it. Let's knock him through it anyway. So Wallalaw can't dash. He's out in the open, but man, is this a bad situation for 2OP to be in. Lotre Kib took so much damage last turn. He's basically on his last legs. Meh is still in the middle of there. Awe finally is following Avaki, who can go invisible now. Meh can't do anything about this. So a little misplay on his part. Didn't stay in vision of Avaki to keep him visual.
Yeah, it looks like shields all around. Safil, of course, topping off Wally there. And Timo going to throw a black hole on the Lotre. And Awe dashes in on Avaki, doing 25 damage to him. Avaki also going to catch that gray drone damage. Meh taking a shot at Safil, and Lotre going to take a little cover damage from Wally over there, only able to do a basic shot. He responds with a shot onto both Safil and Wally. Safil does that overcharge at Meh, who then gets rooted in place by Craner.
You can kind of start to tell that Team Trash is starting to take control of this matchup. They have not been able to lock down Avaki at all. So the Catalyst, as I think they were a little bit too early, but he's still next to full HP. And look at the firepowers for 2OP. Lotre Kib out in the open with the black hole, basically dead this turn. Met on the same problem. He's not going to die this turn, but it's going to be really, really close. And they're in a really sticky situation. They have to dig themselves out now.
So, and here comes the shield going on to Meh, keeping him guarded against Craner there, who's beating up on him. Safil topping off Wally a little bit with that tether. And here comes a trap coming out from Wally. And an interesting wall going down there, while Lotre jumps the other way, hoping to keep Avaki in place with that black hole. A swipe from Craner does a little bit of damage to Meh, but doesn't quite make it through the shield. And of course, a little bit of smoke falling onto Teemo there. Avaki catching some damage from Awe, who responds with a little bit of cover damage to him. Lotre then adding in onto the damage for Avaki with a minefield, which is going to be, you know, done even more because of that splort, pulling him through 2 more mines.
A super aggressive Lotre Kib on the Grimolitions really puts Avaki in a terrible situation here. He's used all 3 of his catalysts. Now, the Turtle Tech was that turn. He's used the Catadash. He's used his second wind. He has 27 HP left, nowhere near Safil, who is coming up on his ultimate soon. I would anticipate, but my goodness, where'd All go? All did not auto-follow Avaki. He's over there in the cover.
Here comes that dash from Craner, hitting both Met and Teemo there. And Lotre launching out a couple of mines there, one landing onto Might and the other there. Avaki takes his chance, shoots him down. And Safil does attach his tether to Teemo, while Wally throws a single claw to him and uses the other to pick up the Might. Teemo responds with a Echo Hammer on Safil, and here comes the ultimate from Meh, catches Safil inside of it. And there goes All with the hit, takes Avaki down, tying it up 1-1.
Very well done by All. I did not actually think he had a line of attack there onto Avaki, so tied it up 1-1. Basically, Avaki takes out Lotre Kib, and All takes out Avaki. And Med now has to get out of here. What does Med have? Med does have his swing out, but he is going to be on the wrong side of the map if he does that compared to his team.
So yeah, looks like Teemo throwing the shield on himself this time. Safil doing the same thing with a Turtle Tech, while using that Radiate as well. Not on Wally, so it is aggressive. And Avaki, taunting the dagger onto Wall there. See, here comes the shot. Hitting Wally, only does cover damage, but does pop that dagger. And Teemo taking his Echo Hammer onto Craner there, while taking that Radiate damage from Teemo. And then getting rooted in place along with Meh, but that damage is going to finish him off. Wally with his ultimate makes sure that Awe takes some damage there, as well as finishing Meh off.
Yeah, maybe thought perhaps that a second win was going to be coming out, or maybe a Turtle Tech. Securing the kill. Craner got the death blow there with the root from the Asana, but Wallalal just making sure that nothing crazy happens. Also getting a nice 50 damage hit onto All. Now it's 2 versus 3, and Teemo's OP has his Helio ult, which is going to help a little bit, but man, with that Cork Tether and Asana on you, it's going to be a matter of time at this point.
Yeah, it looks like Teemo is forced to use that ultimate on himself. So, and here comes Safil with his ultimate, topping off Team Trash. Of course, going to weaken Wally a little bit, since he does have that Might. And Craner, taking that ultimate damage, responds with a Mighted Swipe. And Teemo, the focus here, luckily, he has that ultimate on him. Does use his ultimate, rooting Wally into place, slowing Safil, and still hitting Craner as well. But Teemo is still in serious trouble here. He is able to break that tether, though.
Yeah, breaks the Quark Tether. All gets an excellent Titus ult off, but because of Safil's Quark ultimate, really negated entirely there. Team Trash still 90% HP there. And Teemo's OP lost his Helio ult shield that turn, and then some, down to 24 HP. He is in a really tough spot here. I'm really curious to see what he's going to do here.
So it looks like he still has his Turtle Tech there, so he does throw that on himself. Safil using that Radiate to touch up Wally, who dashes through and steals the health buff. Lotre gonna launch out a couple mines, one landing on Safil and the other into the minefield. Here comes Craner with a double swipe, hitting Teemo through cover. And then takes some damage from that ultimate as well as a hammer from Teemo. Looks like he was able to grab Safil with that other mine out there. That was actually very impressive.
Yeah, man. The problem that I'm seeing here for 2OP's side is 2-1 in favor of Team Trash right now. They've got to start making a comeback, and their team just keeps losing health after health after health. And Team Trash is, quite frankly, not. You know, Cranor, the frontliner on Asana, has ultimate. Took a little bit of damage that turn, but man, they're dealing a lot more than they're taking, it seems like to me.
Yeah, and I think it's really just a focus thing. You could see Trash is incredibly focused when they pick a target, whereas 2OP is just kind of spreading it around.
Absolutely, and just a quick look at the stats. Never mind.
Yeah. Oh my goodness! Aw dash right into that ultimate from Avaki, and here comes Safil with the finisher. Not quite onto Meh, but leaves them only at 13 health, only at 14 health after dashing right into that ultimate. Lotre throwing out a big bang, but keeps both of them in place, not quite positioned correctly to make them fly through that wall.
Oh man, what an unfortunate play from Lotre Kib, not knocking him through that Helio wall. That would have been an excellent play to kind of bring their momentum back here. But again, a quick look at the stats, like I was trying to break in with before, but unfortunately I had the wrong time to do that. We had a big ult coming out of Avaki that turn. Yeah, the 2OP has taken an extreme amount more damage than Team Trash overall. So it's really sort of a team thing right now.
And Craner does catch a weaken there. And then Med think Catalyst's out, just trying to save himself. Oh, of course, accepting his fate. Does make an attack on Avaki there. Some great damage going out on both Safil and Avaki. And of course, Lotre throwing out a couple mines. Only one catch in Wally. And a shot from Avaki takes him down.
Yeah, that's going to bring us to 3-1 in favor of Team Trash. 2OP has got to get something done and get it done quickly. Teemo's OP still hanging around that 20 health mark. Doesn't have anything really that's going to help him this turn. He's out of Catalyst. He only has a black hole available this turn. And Wallalal does have a shot. It's going to be cover damage unless he has the smoke cloud, which he does.
But Craner expecting some damage there, activating a shield. And looks like Meh they're going to dash out, but Safil dashing onto Lotre as well. An Echo Hammer from Teemo hitting both Wally and Safil, but Lotre is the target here, taking cover damage from Avaki. A double claw from Wally. He then splorts in response, and here comes his ultimate. All of it onto Avaki, only about half of it hits for 48 damage. Craner then tries to root, but doesn't catch Meh because of his dash out.
I won't waste the opportunity.
Yeah, and now we have the situation where does Meh know where Avaki went? Does Avaki know where Meh went? Either one could kill the other right now. So it's going to be interesting. But Lotre Kib, you notice, man, this is why you don't want to go out in the middle of the map as a firepower, because the instant that he showed his face in the middle without cover, he got triple focused there and almost went down.
Yeah, especially as a Grimolition who now has to use his bombing run to get out of there. Is able to break that tether though. Meh takes a killing shot, but responds with another killing shot onto Avaki. Both of them going down.
Yeah, so they knew exactly where each other were. A 1-for-1 trade, but that's not what you want to do as 2OP right here. You just heard the announcer. 5 turns to go in this matchup. Teemo's OP is completely pulled away from his team. There's nothing that is going to make him survive more than 1 or 2 turns at this point. And Lotre Kib is in much the same situation, off looking down at Cranor, who's right at half HP, frontliner, lost his dash out, has a kata, but he's in a rough spot as well.
And here comes the Radiate from Safil, just keeping Wally topped off there, doing an excellent job playing that Pocket Quark. And Craner catalysting onto the health there just to deny it. Here comes the ultimate from Wally, big 50 onto Teemo, completely eating through that shield. And Lotre throwing a couple mines out, but does not catch Craner there.
Yeah, I wonder if the BM is spilling over from the draft phase into the game itself here. Turn number 16, Craner just catalyst onto the L, says, I don't really want you to get it. I don't really need it that much. I'm just going to chase you around now and kill you. Lotre actually didn't even move that turn, so that's unfortunate for him. He could have gotten away, put a little bit of distance between he and Craner at that point. And now you look on the other side, All's trying to come in for Teemo, but it's a little bit too late.
And there goes Sefil just doing that top off there. All does dash out. Lotre does a catalyst there. Teemo is stuck where he is, unfortunately, in a trap with two of them staring him down. Craner swipe, of course, misses, but there goes Wally with a big 42 hit into Teemo's face, even right after that trap he just walked into.
Yeah, man, Lotre Kib, I guess, said, we'll see you next time, buddy. Good luck with that. Just took off across the map with the Titus dash. Did a classic Pepe Titus move there, dashing across the map, hits nothing. But, I mean, that's kill number 5. 17 turns in, 5-2. Team Trash is going to take the first round of the semifinals against 2OP here with a 2-0 sweep. We don't need to go to a game 3, so congratulations, Team Trash. What do you think about this matchup, Septimus?
I mean, it was just a great match overall. You know, is Team Trash really showing why they are the mostly undefeated team of Prep Phase for 2 seasons running. You know, once again, really their only defeat coming from the fact that there was a disconnect, and you know, rules state that has to be played out. So they're just doing an incredible job making sure that they remain in that number 1 spot, and they intend to go all the way to number 1 in this tournament as well. So they have now secured their spot in the finals, and I can't wait to see them and whoever wins this next matchup play there.
Yeah, and I'm going to probably throw my name in the hat for Sefil on this match in particular. Perfect positioning all match. Had 228 damage done as a quirk, which is respectable. 484 healing done. He took 266 damage, which is a little bit less than half of his, or a little bit less than double his HP bar, but he didn't die the whole game. So excellent job, I think, on his part. I think runner-up might be Wallalal, but he did have that pocket quirk. Not dying isn't too impressive on that.
Yeah, so I mean, he kind of hard to die when you've got Sefil pocket quirking you, because basically he was on him the entire game, just continually overcharging, or not overcharging, continually radiating him, keeping that extra heal going into him. And of course, whenever he was close enough, Sefil would just attach that tether and was able to pull out 228 damage, and that was just kind of like an extra little bonus for him.
Yeah, absolutely. So once again, congratulations to Team Trash. They're headed to the finals later on today. Don't want to miss that. But coming up here, guys, we have the number 2 seed, 2OP, versus the guys we saw yesterday taking it in round number 1, Freelancer United Nation, or Fun, if you will.
So, all right. So, well, it looks like we do have a little bit of time to kill before the next one. So let's see who we can bring in here, and let's talk about what's going to happen this next match.
Well, I mean, obviously, I mentioned it earlier. We have kind of a throwback to Season 1's tournament. We have the same top 2 teams coming in, Trash and Outplayed. A brand new team on both of them coming in for the semifinals with 2OP, which we just unfortunately have to say goodbye to now. They're actually going to take the 4th place prize, though, so congratulations. They're going to be able to split 200 smackaroonies between one another there. So well done on that. But, man, I got to tell you, I'm really impressed with Freelance United Nation on the other side of the coin. These guys, they're Frenchmen. I love these guys talking to them. They're super excited about the game. They're super enthusiastic otherwise, and just a lot of fun to be around. And they're going to be taking on Outplayed, again, the number 2 seed this season and last. And it's going to be an uphill climb, I feel like, for Fun. But if anybody can do it again, I got to say they have the tools to do it.
All right, and looks like we do have Wally is gonna come up here for the post-game interview, so let's get him in here real quick. How are you doing, sir?
Very good. I just won a game of Atlas Reactor.
We saw it was a very good game too. How do you feel?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Went well.
Yeah, I think it went really well for you guys. So I have to ask you, what did you guys do in preparation for this match? Because I know you guys have, been playing a lot of Atlas lately, and you were, I guess, able to make it through. Like I know myself was getting a little burned out there for a little bit, but you guys were able to kind of push through all that and make it all the way through to the tournament here. So I'm just curious, how did you guys push yourself all the way through to here?
We got burned out too, but after the changes got released, we started playing again more. Like I started streaming for a while, and I'm gonna start up again after my exams, I guess.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So, Wallalal, congratulations from me, of course, from everybody here at the PPL group for entering into the finals for the second season in a row. Got to be excited about that. Now, honestly, going into this matchup, did you have anything special that you had planned against 2OP? I noticed that you guys didn't ban out Helio either game, and I noticed a pup ban for game number 2. What was going on with that?
So this time around, we actually prepared. Like, it might be like looking down, but we actually didn't prepare for our opponents until now. So this time around, we looked at the games they played and decided on that fact they didn't want Helio too often. And we weren't afraid of an kind of half-assed Helio player. Like if you're a good Helio player, you can be big trouble for us. But if you don't play him regularly, he can be more of a burden for the team, not having heal and such.
Yeah, and we saw that really coming into play here as Timo is OP playing the Helio versus Sefil on the Quark. Of course, you guys barely lost health that whole game in game number 2. Game number 1, much the same story. They didn't push Sefil off of you the whole matchup. So, I mean, it's got to feel nice to have that pocket quirk, but having Sefil be that pocket quirk, it's almost impossible to take you guys out.
Yeah, Quark is a really good supporter, and Sefil plays him really well. Like, he has it down. Yeah, like you said, being full health, you can do some pretty ballsy plays there. I went sometimes in there without caring too much about my health, because I was sure Seth would get me up again.
Yeah, and he definitely did. There were a couple times where, you dropped to about half health and I think 2 or 3 turns. And, we saw you guys kind of run off together. You took a more ranged position and, 2 or 3 more turns later, you were right back up there at 100%.
That's how Quark should be played. And we will play him like that if we get him again.
So, Wallalal, my final question here before I throw you to Septimus, if he has anything else for you. We've got Outplayed versus Freelancer United Nation coming up. Who do you think is going to win that best of 3? And I guess the follow-up question is not who you think would win, but who would you rather play in the finals?
So, just like, I guess I'm actually thinking Outplay will win. So I hope they lose, I guess.
So you think Outplayed is probably going to win the best of 3, but you'd rather they lose, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Sounds about right.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. So, Septimus, what do you have left here?
So, I was going to ask kind of on the same string. Of course, Outplayed pretty well. You guys have played against each other before in the previous season tournament. And I don't think you've played a whole lot. You guys tend to play on different days. But, Freelancer United Nation, I know you've gone up against them once or twice, and they were kind of one of the really surprising teams to come in this season. They came in and were able to really kind of claw their way up from where nobody knew who they were to where they were suddenly the 6th seed. Not only the 6th seed, they came in and they actually beat the quarterfinals and beat Voltaic Gaming to come up to the semifinals. And I was just wondering, you know, were they kind of one of the teams that kind of surprised you? Because I know you guys keep your eyes on all the other teams.
Yes, indeed. If I remember correctly, we played them very early. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. I think week 1 actually.
Yeah, and they kind of surprised us. Like, they were really good players, and I think it's deserved that they get here, and we might see them in the finals. Like, it would be a good story, right?
Yeah,
It would be an
absolutely.
excellent story. Yeah. So Walala, before we let you go, what would you like to say to the people watching at home in the stream here before we move on to looking at or round number 2?
Well, don't forget, not just at home, in the Razor store as well.
Oh my, yeah.
So, yeah, I guess I hope you enjoyed our match. I hope you learned something. It's a really interesting game, and you should play more. Totally.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Walala, for joining us here in the sacrificial booth, I guess. And we'll let you get back to your team and prepare for the finals later on today. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you. And I see you in the finals, I guess.
All right, we'll see you there, sir. So, all right, well, like I said,